Tonight, the Tartan Army takes off.
Oh, Scotland no party.
Football-crazy fans are heading to the Euros opening game, Germany versus Scotland.
Everybody's so excited that Scotland's qualified for this tournament, and I know, and I'm confident.
As fans descend on Deutschland, anticipation is reaching fever pitch here in Germany as Steve Clarke's men prepare to open the Euros against the hosts.
Also making the headlines, a fresh survey of Scottish voters. Just 3 weeks until the election, a new opinion poll suggests the SNP and Labour are now neck and neck.
We are on the beach in St Andrews, gauging the temperature of voters on the 4th day of our election road trip.
And an STV smackdown, a rematch 17 years in the making. World-class wrestler Drew McIntyre takes on a very unlikely opponent.
I'm Kellyanne Woodland in Edinburgh.
And I'm John Mackay in Glasgow. This is the STV News at 6.
Good evening. There are just over 48 hours until the Scotland football team kicks off against Germany in the opening game of Euro 2024, and the mass exodus of fans heading over to Munich is well underway.
Throughout today, flights have been packed with members of the Tartan Army, and our senior reporter Gordon Cree was at Edinburgh Airport to see them off.
From first thing this morning, the check-in desks and departures area were awash with the Tartan Army. Fans are keen to make the most of Scotland's first tournament abroad for 26 years.
It's been a long time since France 98, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Why is it so important to be out there?
Oh, just because everybody's so excited that Scotland's qualified for this tournament, and I know, and I'm confident.
So you think we'll beat Germany?
I think we might, yeah. I'm thinking it's going to be 2-1 to Scotland.
Georgie's organising it, so we're off to Hamburg to begin with, and then train tomorrow down to Munich, and then
We stayed in Nuremberg for 5 nights for Munich, and then Koblenz for Cologne, and then Karlsruhe for Stuttgart, and back via Paris on the 24th of June. What could possibly go wrong?
Well, yes. So have you got tickets for the games?
Yes, aye.
Yeah.
So, tough start against Germany. What are you hoping for, expecting from that?
Well, I was in Paris in 1998 when we played Brazil, and no one fancies us then. We're really unlucky to lose 2-1. So that just shows you in these games, they're one-off cup games, anything's possible.
I think we'll win all the games.
You think we'll win all of them? Yeah. And you'll go back out for the final then?
We'll stay out. Never we're coming back, we'll just stay out. That was ridiculous.
Everywhere you look here, there are Scotland shirts and there are kilts. Over the next day or two, tens of thousands of people will pass through the airport on their way to Germany. Many have tickets for the opening game, many more do not, but simply have to be part of the atmosphere.
And plenty of those travelling today were not even born the last time there was a chance to do this.
Have you got tickets for the game?
No, we don't. Well, I hope when we go over there, hopefully, but nothing right now, just the fan zones.
Yeah. So even if you don't get a ticket, it's still going to be a great experience, isn't it?
Apparently there's like 250,000 people going, so...
Do you know everyone I speak to, that number gets higher?
Aye, well, maybe a million, mate.
Just to soak up the atmosphere. We've been at every match leading up to this, so we just had to go to Germany as well, didn't we?
Yeah.
Kein Schottland, keine Party.
Oh, Scotland no party.
The message to Munich is, we're on the way. Gordon Cree, STV News, Edinburgh.
So as the fans head to Munich, let's head to Garmisch-Partenkirchen, where Ronnie Charters is with the Scotland squad at their training camp.
Fair to say, John, anticipation is reaching fever pitch. Every corner of the globe, it seems, Scots are coming from to travel here to Germany. It is planes, trains and automobiles, as we've seen from the Tartan Army, and it's beginning to get that bit more real. The bagpipes have been out, the tartan have been out, and the party is getting started here in Germany. A party that you will imagine will go down in the history books. From the footballing side of things, from Steve Clarke and his players, a final training session here tomorrow before travelling up to Munich for the big one of the biggest matches in our country's history. Scotland versus Germany, opening this European Championships. It is set to be one of the biggest and hopefully best nights in Scottish football history.
Let's hope so, Ronnie. Thank you. And of course, Rahman will be here later with the sport.
Now, with 3 weeks to go until the general election, the SNP and Labour are neck and neck with the voters, while the Conservatives could face wipeouts in Scotland, according to a new poll from Ipsos. Our political editor, Colin Mackay, has been looking at the figures. So, Colin, what's in it?
Well, Ipsos spoke to just over 1,000 voters last week, and the poll suggests the SNP and Labour are both on 36%. That's an increase on the previous Ipsos poll for Labour and down for the SNP. The Conservatives are on 13%, with the Lib Dems on 5%, Reform on 4%, the Greens on 3%, and Alba on just 1%. Now, if you put all of that through the electoral calculus seat predictor, Labour and the SNP could get 27 seats each. The Lib Dems could get 3%. And the Conservatives could face wipeout in Scotland. But you have to take that with a huge pinch of salt, because it's based on a uniform swing right across the country, and that never happens. Now, a few polls recently have suggested that Labour was drawing clear of the SNP, but this is the second in as many days, which suggests it's really tight. It's even tight on leadership approval, with John Swinney on -2 and Anas Sarwar on -1. There's so much more in this poll, and you can find out about it at STV News Online.
Indeed. All right, Colin, thanks very much for that.
And we're staying with the general election and our political reporter, Laura Alderman. Laura's back in her election tour of the country, taking the temperature of the electorate in Scotland.
Well, she's spent the day on St Andrews East Sands Beach, gauging reaction to that STV News opinion poll.
Well, finally, the weather was in our favour today, and we even managed to have an STV News barbecue. This is the 4th day of our tour across Scotland's summer hotspots. We've travelled from Balloch to Drumnadrochit and then on to Ballater. Now we're here on the beach in St Andrews. This is the country's most marginal seat, North East Fife, and people we spoke to today say they've been following the campaign closely, but they're not that impressed with what they've seen so far. As Sunak and Starmer prepare for another grilling in tonight's TV debate, we've pitched up in St Andrews to chew the fat with voters about that STV poll, leaving this guy in charge of the sausages.
The SNP, I think they've done well so far, but I think people need a change because the country's not getting any better just now.
Labour. It's a tactical vote though, you know. I think just the SNP have been in power for too long and there's not been much change.
Because of the mess the SNP, the party's in, and the policies that they've put in place and they've not put in place in Scotland, is pushing Labour forward.
For us, being like a small business in that, we've been, during COVID, the Scottish Liberal Democrat Party were super supportive.
Today's poll could signal the tide is turning in Scotland, but what's clear is trust in party leaders is low.
I'd love to see someone that I felt I had a lot of trust in or faith in.
I'm sure what the SNP are offering and what John Swinney's offering. I'm not sure what anybody else is offering.
We've had SNP now for over 14 years and things have just gone backwards. So what's the good of promises?
Will you be watching the debate tonight?
No.
Fair enough.
There's Love Island on, so...
Well, to make sure they're the public's type on paper, the parties will need to dig deeper and build up trust. Laura Alderman, STV News, St Andrews.
Measures to release just over 500 prisoners early have been approved by MSPs. The scheme, aiming to tackle overcrowding in prisons, will take effect from tomorrow. But the first group of prisoners aren't expected to be released until the end of this month. Sex offenders and those serving life sentences are excluded from the scheme. Proposals for buffer zones outside abortion clinics have been passed in the Scottish Parliament. The new law means protests will have to be 200 metres away from the healthcare facilities. As Scotland fans make their exodus for Germany, what about those watching from home? Well, one charity is handing out more than 1,000 footballs in classrooms across Glasgow. Selena Jackson has been to St Paul's Primary in Whiteinch.
Good morning, guys. How are we all? Good. How is everyone? Good. And who's excited for the Euros? Yeah. Is Scotland going to win?
As a former elite player, Ryan knows as well as anyone the power of football.
It's a driver for their health and well-being. It keeps them off the street at the weekend, keeps them away from maybe getting involved in antisocial behaviour or difficult elements as well that can go down the wrong path that I've obviously kind of understood and worked in my own life and seen people that maybe haven't had best opportunities for different circumstances.
Now that they have their new kits, some of the kids are getting the chance to show off their skills in a free training session.
Small touches of the football, keep it under control. Well done, guys, well done, well done, well done.
And they seem pretty confident that Steve Clarke's team will do them proud.
Oh, I'm absolutely ecstatic. I can't wait to cheer on my country.
Ibrahim,
Can't wait for this Euros.
you're going to be watching Scotland-Germany on Friday?
Oh, definitely.
I think they're going to advance from the group stage. Even though they're facing Germany, they're not in the best form right now. They do have a chance.
Do you think Scotland can beat Germany on Friday?
Yes, for sure.
How do you think Scotland are going to do?
Amazing. They're getting it.
Yeah?
They're going to win it.
There'll be much more on the exodus for the Euros in Scotland tonight at 10:40. Scotland may be football mad at the moment with the Euros, but another big sporting spectacle is taking place this weekend right here in Glasgow. The Hydro is staging wrestling's Clash at the Castle, watched by a global audience of millions.
Centre stage is Drew McIntyre from Ayrshire. I first interviewed him and he just signed for the WWE 17 years ago. Well, today I joined him in the ring again for a rematch. Of course, now that Drew's reached the dizzy heights of WWE, the only problem now will be trying to keep his feet firmly on the ground. Long time no see.
Let's do this.
Welcome back to Scotland. How does it feel to be on home soil?
I'm so full of adrenaline right now. Being back home, and not just back home, getting to catch up with yourself after 17 years, and the fact that we've got the first ever Scottish WWE PLE is mental. The fact that we're in Scotland, and I'm in the main event, and I'm fighting for the title. This is just unreal. This is me setting the challenge right now. Like, Scotland, we need you to come out. I've been telling everybody about the wildest, craziest people on earth, most passionate people on earth. This Friday, SmackDown, and Saturday, Clash at the Castle, you got to break the sound barrier for me, because we're going to show the entire world nobody's more mental than us.
This weekend's also about Scotland being at the Euros. We know you love your football too. How do you feel about it being this weekend, same weekend as you being here in Scotland?
I'm pretty optimistic right now, actually. We've got some amazing players, and everybody's playing for the jersey, and I think Scotland are going to shock a few people in this tournament. Then I'm not going to shock anyone, because I'm going to bloody win on Saturday. But yeah, we've got John McGinn, we've got Robbo in the wing. No Scotland, no party. Steve Clarke's Tartan Army.
Now, Drew, each night I co-present the STV News at 6 alongside John Mackay, and sometimes he can be a wee bit cheeky, to be honest. Do you think you could have a word with him?
Hi, Mackay. How are you doing? So I've been hearing about you, before right now. I hear you're wearing all these little ties every single day, like you're still in secondary school, mate. You don't have to wear ties anymore, and stop being so cheeky. You know what's going to happen if you don't stop being cheeky? It's pretty simple. I'm going to come visit the station. I'm going to come say hi. So stop it.
You've been warned, John.
He's coming in for Scotland tonight. Can we hurry up and get this done so I can get away? Anyway, before I do that, though, there is the matter of Scotland in the Euros. Let's go over to Germany for the latest from Rama.
STV Sport, sponsored by the C.R. Smith Summer Sale.
A very good evening from Garmisch-Partenkirchen, Scotland's base here in Germany. Just 2 more sleeps before Scotland kick off the Euros against the hosts. Well, Steve Clarke oversaw his team's penultimate training session here earlier ahead of the big game. There were no cameras present. It was a closed session as he finalises his preparations for the big game. Well, Billy Gilmour excelled with a player of the match performance against England at the last Euros, and the Brighton midfielder says he's ready and he's a much improved player from the previous tournament.
matured a lot. Young kid at Euros first time now. I would say not a young kid anymore. Grew up a little bit, but no, I mean it's all part of the journey. I've really enjoyed it. Of course, looking back, the game for England, my first competitive game, really good game for us all. And then that's the test you're wanting as a football player. So to be at this stage now, we know the group's tough, but we want to test ourselves and see how far we can go.
The pictures coming out of Scotland today, airports, ferry terminals, everywhere. I think there was even like kilt shortages. What does that do to you guys as a player to see those hundreds of thousands of Scots coming over?
Yeah, it gives us a real buzz. We know how Scotland's so passionate, especially about football. All the Scottish fans coming over. We know there'll be loads at home as well watching, so it's a real buzz around the country.
Well, what about Germany? The hosts are under pressure to go deep into the championship, something they've not done at recent tournaments. They only reached the last 16 of the last Euros and were eliminated in the group stage of the previous 2 World Cups. But make no mistake, they have a talented group of players. Toni Kroos recently came out of retirement, and Billy Gilmour says he's relishing the prospect of coming up against the Real Madrid midfielder on Friday night.
I think Toni Kroos is unbelievable. You've seen what he's done in the game, and just to watch him on TV, he's unbelievable. The way he moves the ball and passes it, the simple things he makes 100% perfect. And if I do get the opportunity, I'll be excited. Of course, one of the greatest midfielders of the game, and to test myself and compete would be a great opportunity.
And you can watch Scotland against Germany live right here on STV on Friday night. The coverage begins at 6:30 with kick-off at 8 o'clock. Now to the latest in our series of reports looking back at Scotland playing at major tournaments. Tonight we're remembering the World Cup in Argentina in 1978, when we were all supposed to be on the march with Ali's army. Here's Chris Harvey.
Bucking out in front. Douglas scores! What a goal! That's it!
This win over Wales in October of '77 meant the Dark Blues were on their way.
And Argentina, here we come!
With Ali MacLeod at the helm, Scotland were heading for South America, and they did so with a now famous tune ringing in their ears.
We're on the bus for Alexandre. We're going to the Argentina, and we'll really shake them up when we win the World Cup. Scotland are the greatest football team.
The nation was gripped with World Cup fever as Scots tried to find a way to the Argentine.
I think it's a chance of a lifetime, and the next World Cup's 4 years from now, and there's no guarantee that I'll be able to afford it then.
I've afforded it simply because I'm in business and I can take some money out of the business. The business will maybe flounder, but as long as the Scots do okay, you know.
And even this butcher decided to sell his business to make the trip.
Well, I feel I've got the ability to start business again when I come back, and you're only young once.
And when Scotland found out their opponents, spirits were high. Iran, Peru and Holland stood between Scotland and the last 8. With a squad containing the names of Dalglish, Souness and Jordan, Scotland were waved off by thousands at Hampden Park as Argentina beckoned. The Scots turned out in their numbers, battling with the soaring heat of Argentina, and formed a welcome party as Ali MacLeod and his men arrived. First up, Peru. The optimism Scotland carried into this tournament quickly disappearing as the South Americans stunned the Dark Blues. A 3-1 defeat in our opening game, and things were soon to get a whole lot worse. Scotland went from back page to front page headlines as winger Willie Johnston failed a drugs test and was sent home from the tournament. Catastrophe soon followed as Scotland faced Iran in the second game. A 1-1 draw, one of the worst results in our history, had the Tartan Army furious, and the back pages didn't make for good reading.
There wasn't a lack of fight or a lack of fire, but I don't think that the teamwork was as we've come to expect from Scotland. And all in all, I just felt it was a poor performance by us.
Our match against the Dutch was a chance to win back some pride. A 3-2 victory, a much-needed boost, and a goal that will go down in the history books. But ultimately, Argentina 78 will be remembered as an opportunity missed for Scotland, as Ali's army were dumped out of the World Cup.
Well, we'll always have Archie Gemma's goal. That, folks, is Always Sport live from Germany. Tomorrow, Steve Clarke and his players head to Munich ahead of Friday night's game. It can't come soon enough. Bye for now.
STV Sport, sponsored by the C.R. Smith Summer Sale.
And now your weather from Philip.
Light winds rolling in from the west. We'll be joined by some very welcomed ice creams. TUI sponsors STV Weather.
Hello and a very good evening to you. Throughout today we have seen some fine and dry conditions around, and that's because we've been under a ridge of high pressure. That is quickly replaced by low pressure tomorrow though, moving in from the west. So things will be turning unsettled as we head towards the weekend. Back to just now, a fine dry end to the evening, some late evening sunny spells around. We'll see some breaks in the cloud. Where we've got the clear skies overnight, temperatures will be dropping to lows of around 3 or 4 degrees Celsius for the likes of Dunblane. So it does mean for tomorrow morning it will be a chilly start to the day once again, but for some of us a fine, dry and bright start. Then through the course of the morning things will go downhill. The winds will start to pick up strength. We've got these frontal systems moving in from the southwest, bringing with it some thicker cloud and a band of rain. Some of that rain could be quite heavy at times through the course of the afternoon as that works its way north and eastwards. Temperature wise tomorrow reaching highs of 16 degrees Celsius. So looking ahead to Friday, like I said, it will be turning unsettled ahead of the weekend. That's because we've got this low pressure system stalled across the country. We've got outbreaks of rain and showers spiralling around that low pressure centre. For much of the country, it will be a mixture of brighter spells and some showers. Some of these showers could be quite heavy at times throughout the day, with highs of around 14 degrees. Bye-bye.
TUI sponsors STV Weather.
Right, John, Big Drew is coming, and believe me, he is big, so you better get yourself out of there. You really better. Hang on, where is he? That'll teach him for all that cheek. Good night.